Hi everyone, how are we doing today? We're here today to do one of the classes that you will be taking at the IMT, which is your in motion training. And this class is called How to Share. My name is Cindy and I'm one of the trainers and also a team leader here at In Motion.
My name is Vicki and I'm a missions coordinator and I do a lot of the trip planning here at In Motion as well.
And the two of us love to do this class together, so we're really excited that we get to do it as a team.
This holds a lot of passion for us.
Yeah, and we just want you to know that you do not need experience to share the love of God with people. You really just need to have a heart that you really want to let people know how great God is. And so we're here just to deflect that fear for you and to just put you at ease to know that whatever experience, or maybe you've never ever spoken in front of people, it doesn't matter. You're going to be just fine. And we're going to teach you ways to share your faith with others, which we're just going to call My Story. So we're not really going to talk about a testimony or any of those sorts of words. We're just going to say, how do I share my story with other people? And we want you to know that it's about sharing God's love with people. It's not a lesson. It's not any of those things, right?
No, it's more about how have you seen God in your life. There are times you can look back over the course of your life and you can find God's footprints in your life. When He really showed up in a moment in your life where you looked back and thought, that really was God, or He brought me through that time. It's those heart stories that helps you to have a connection with the people that you'll be speaking with.
Yeah, so just relax and listen, and at the end of this session, your facilitator will help you practice, and you'll get a chance to just write some things down and learn how to do this so that you do have confidence in yourself. And please just share with them your fears, your excitement, your worries. If you really feel like this is something that's just going to stretch you really far, just share that with your team leader, and that person will help you work through it.
And those of you who love to do this, can you help out some of those in the group that are a little bit more timid?
Great idea. So do you want to talk a little bit about different settings?
You on your trip will have different times that you'll be called on to share your faith. And sometimes it might just be a conversation that you'll be in the airport or in an airplane. And so having a prepared thing to say when you're talking to somebody that you can bring into a conversation is great. There will also be organized times like church settings where you'll be doing a church event and you'll be speaking to a mixed aged audience. Then you'll sometimes maybe just be out on the street and visiting with people in a park and just starting conversations. It's really important to connect with their heart and build from relationship. You might be in a youth ministry night, so you'll be talking to teenagers. So keep your words kind of hip and culturally sensitive to the way teenagers talk and understand things. Sometimes you might be in an orphanage or a daycare situation and you'll be talking to maybe wounded children or children that are facing disabilities or problems in their life. You might also be just in schools and doing an assembly where there's all kinds of mixed age children. There's lots of different settings. They might take you to a nursing home and you'll be speaking to some elderly people. The key here is to always connect with their heart, and the way you do that is by saying how you have seen God in your life, the places He's stepped into your life and you've really seen Him, because everybody connects with a personal story.
Right. We don't want you to worry about knowing a lot of Bible stories or giving out those Bible stories. There's a lot of verses that we'll use, though, and help you understand how to do this. But it's not about teaching them something. It's just letting them know who you are in your own heart and what you have to share and why you would come so far away to be with them and why you would spend all this money to come there. Yeah. And they're very interested in you. They want to know who you are, and that's what we want to help you learn how to share. And so we have a verse that we want you to look up in your Bible. So if you want to grab those Bibles, we'll walk that through with you. And we're going to Revelations 12:11. Do you want to read that, please?
Yes, I'll read that. I'll give you a minute to find it. Revelations 12:11. Says, they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony. They did not love their lives so much as to shrink from death.
This is perfect for a missionary. I mean, we're talking about the two most important things here that can happen, which is that Jesus finished work on the cross, That is what this is all about. So everything we want you to do is point it back to who Christ is and what he did on the cross. And the other part of that is our testimony. It's our story. So it says that they did not love their life so much as to shrink from death. That part we're not going to worry so much about. We're going to work on the other part just a little bit. So let's look back at that. And it says they triumphed over him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimonies or story. So we want you to talk about your story, not something that somebody else did. And so the two of us have prepared a little example for you, and then we'll talk to you a little bit more about some other ways. So mine, if we were out on the street or we were with a bunch of people and we were talking about adult things that happen to people, not like a kid audience, but an adult audience, I might do something like this. I have a verse that I really love from the Bible, and it says, "If the Son shall make you free, you shall be free indeed." And when I think of that verse, I think about myself and how God has set me free from being so worried about performing and being perfect about everything. I have a real issue with that. I constantly am worried about that I'm not good enough or I don't do things well enough. And I've read so much and I know so much about God, and he says, I love you. I love you just the way you are. I love you today. You are valuable. You're my girl. And when I think of that, it just sets me free to be myself. And I just encourage you to learn about who Christ is and to let him come into your heart, and that you would know him like this. And he loves you with an everlasting love, and he wants you to be part of his family. And we invite you to be part of his family. So that's my example.
Oh, that was great. I would say a personal story. If I was in maybe a mixed church group, let's say, maybe in a church setting, and I would talk about, in my life, I struggle with worrying about the everyday to-do lists. I'm kind of ruled by to-do lists and making sure that I have everything in place, and man, what am I going to do about tomorrow? And one day, I heard this phrase, what if you didn't have to figure it all out? That goes against everything I've ever been taught. From little on up, you've been asked, what are you going to be when you grow up? And you've been told to plan your work and work your plan. And all your life, you've been told we've just got to do these plans and everything. And so that, to me, brought up a lot of worry. And there's a scripture in Philippians 4. Philippians 4:6 says, don't worry about anything. Instead, pray about everything. Tell God what you need and thank him for all he has done. Then you will experience God's peace, which exceeds anything we can understand. His peace will guard your hearts and your minds as you live in Christ. How hard is that? Don't worry about anything. To me, that's just unheard of, until the Lord began to minister to my heart that he really does take care of the details in your life. He really does care about all those to-do lists. And if I will give them to him, even the little stuff, he gives me this peace that I can't even comprehend, that I can hardly speak about because it's so amazing. He will do that for you as well. All you have to do is ask him, Lord, will you take this off my plate? Will you handle my worry? Are you big enough to take care of the things that are bringing me down? He always answers yes to that question.
So those are a couple examples that are personal to us. And so with your facilitator, you guys are going to take some time and just think through your own story, how God has affected you. What is it about your life that is different because you have Christ? And that's what we want you to share with people. We want you to think about what it is that makes it different, and then point it back to Jesus and to his work and how he completed this all at once on the cross. And if you just take some time and do that, you're going to do great. We also wanted to tell you a little bit about, if you have little children, of course you're going to have to change the way that you speak to them. You can't, the things we just said are not going to work that well with adults or with little children. So we take more of a simple concept, like let's say fear or I'm afraid of the dark. So you might have a flashlight in your hand and it could be turned off, and you could say something like, I used to be afraid of the dark, and it was very scary for me to go outside or to be anywhere where it was dark. But then I knew Jesus, and Jesus, it was like he turned this light on. And as you say that, you flip the light on the flashlight, and it brightens your face, and then everybody understands. So when Jesus is in my life, I can see where I'm going, and I'm confident because he said he was going to be with me and he would take care of me. So that's an example of what you would do with children that's different than adults.
Another thing you could do is take a stack of pencils and hold them all in your hand and show them to the children and say, look at all these pencils. They're different colors. Some of them are fat, some of them are skinny, some of them have points, some of them have a little bit duller. But what does every pencil have? And you can turn it over and show the eraser and say, look, there's an eraser on the end. And that's what Jesus does. He erases the bad things in your life and brings life to you.
So those are some examples, and we just encourage you to take the time to just really spend several minutes and write these down. Even if you don't use this very testimony, which we are calling our story, if you don't use this story, you will at least have some examples of how to do this. And you know, we're with you. We're praying from the back side of all this back at In Motion, and we care a lot about your success, and we wish you the best. God bless you.
God bless you.